Ford is targeting Tesla in a major move to compete using Tesla's own recipe, and now they got the numbers. I'll tell you about the numbers, the amazing side effect it's all going to bring to all of us, but also some concerns as many Ford dealers are not happy about this. Now, no one was more excited about this than the host of the State of Charge YouTube channel, Tom Moloughney, a few weeks ago when it was announced. As a matter of fact, he was there himself, but he's going to be here in a few minutes to tell us if he's still as psyched about it as he was back then. And of course, as always, we'll take questions from you, my live audience, and we're going to start right now. Welcome to E4 Electric. I am in Austin, Texas. I drove here a couple of days ago and I almost didn't make it, guys. As I checked out on my Airbnb in Oklahoma City, great place, by the way, I realized that my car was completely dead. So I was homeless and carless. But it was because of the most embarrassing reason an electric car can be dead. It was because of my 12-volt battery, which is another story why our big batteries need a small batteries to get started. We'll talk about it some other time. But it was dead. But I got a tow truck driver in there pretty quickly who hated California and electric cars, ironically so. And the dealer in Oklahoma City took care of everything. By the way, it was a software issue. And I was on my way to Austin, made it here safe and sound, and I'm now in my new Airbnb enjoying the much warmer weather. So I'll tell you a little bit more about Austin maybe next time. But let's get to the big Ford's news because they released some really big numbers. And now, see if you guys agree with me or not. But I've heard people say car dealers suck. Now, let me know right now in the comment section, or if you're watching me live in the live stream comments, because yes, the buying experience it might suck a little, but also dealerships have the demo cars and the test drives, and guess what? Sometimes you need a service center, and it's pretty cool when there's a lot of them. Like I just needed one in Oklahoma City, and everything was taken care of. They had, I believe, like 2 or 3 over there. So, in many reasons, they are maybe not that bad. But now Ford did something shocking and amazing a few months ago, and essentially tried to get their dealer model kind of merged with kind of almost online sales type of model that Tesla and Lucid have. So what they did, they basically gathered all of the dealers together in Vegas. Actually, Tom Moloughney, who's going to be here in a second, was there for that, and gave him the ultimatum. They said, listen, you either on board with this and then you have to invest some money and do many other things, or you're out. We're not going to give you any electric cars to sell. Now, granted, there's already lawsuits have been filed because this could be technically against the franchise law, right? Because every dealer is supposed to get the fair number allocated to them based on their sales, and Ford is saying no. Now, if you are out, you're out for at least 5 years. But if you're in, then you have 2 choices. You can be a regular certified dealership for electric cars. You will have to install 1 DC fast charger, invest about $500,000, but then you get no demos. You will not have a Ford.com presence, and you will only be able to sell no more than 25 EVs per year. Which is, but the elite certified level is way better, but you have to invest at least $1 million, installed 2 DC fast chargers, and then you get all of the perks that the regular certified dealers are not going to get. Now, a quick reminder that GM has already tried something very similar with their Cadillac dealers, right? They said, listen, if you're out, we're just going to buy you out. And about 150 dealerships said, okay, we are out. There was about 150, so it's about 20% of the Cadillac dealers, which wasn't too bad. But now the results are in for Ford, and the CEO of Ford announced what they are. So 2/3 of the dealers are in, and here's maybe even a more surprising number: 90% of them are going for the elite level. That means $1 million investment at least, and then 2 DC fast chargers. Now, at the same time, if my math is wrong, and I don't know where my calculator went, but 1/3 of the dealers, which is a lot for Ford, that's over 1,000 dealerships, said we are out, and we don't. You can take your electric cars and shove it up your like electric port. So it's I don't know which one is a bigger news, and we'll definitely run this by Tom. But at the same time, there was a very interesting side effect that happened, because essentially, if you have almost 2,000 dealers installing, pretty much mainly two DC fast chargers, that will make Ford the largest DC fast charging network in the United States as far as the number of locations. So, of course, one or two DC fast chargers is nothing compared to at least four that Electrify America and a lot of EVgo and definitely Tesla superchargers have. But as far as locations is concerned, Ford is going to be the leader in that. Now, it's going to take about a year. They're supposed to get it done by the end of the next year, but nevertheless. So, like I said, Tom was there in person at their meeting in Las Vegas. And Tom, let's talk about this. First of all, welcome back to the channel. But let me ask you this. Are you surprised by the numbers? And if so, which part? The ones that the dealers that joined or the dealers that said no?
So I can't say that I'm surprised, Alex, because shortly after this happened, I said publicly that I expect between 60 and 70% of the dealers to sign on. And we are 65%. I couldn't have been more accurate. So I figured this is how it was going to shake out. I think most dealers understand that the industry is transitioning to electric vehicles. I think that they see the writing on the wall. They were flat out told this by Ford that, look, this is where we're going. This is where the whole industry is going. So you absolutely need to take this seriously and transition. So I'm not surprised at all. And, you have to understand, this is for a 3-year period. This first wave of Ford Model E, if you're going to be a certified elite or a certified Model E dealership, this is going to go from January 1st, 2024 through January 1st, 2027. It's not like the dealers could never sell electric cars. At some point in 2025, Ford is going to reach out to the dealers and say, okay, you're out until January 1st, 2027. Who now wants to join the second wave, which will be 2027 through 2020, so through 2030. So what I would imagine you're going to see is the vast majority of dealers that have not signed on now are going to sign up for that next wave. They're going to kick the can down the road a little bit.
All right, now, but let me ask you this. Okay, but why not do this? I mean, the future is obviously electric. Even if you don't like electric cars, like my truck driver in Oklahoma City, you kind of know that this is where Ford is going. This is where the laws are going. Why resist?
Well, there could be, there's a number of reasons, and I think they're good reasons. Let's say you have a Ford dealership in a very rural part of the country. As a matter of fact, when I went out to the Ford dealers, when I went out to the annual dealer meeting where Ford told their dealers this, I spoke to a dozen dealers, and most of them were all on board. But I did speak to a couple that say, I think we're going to pass on the first 3 years, then maybe sign up in 2027 when electric vehicle adoption is higher. Because some of these dealers that live in really rural areas of the country are saying, look, I sell like one EV a year. It's not worth it for me to make this whole investment now. Let me wait until electrification catches up to our area, and then we'll join in. We're not saying we don't want to sell EVs. What we're saying is right now, for the next couple of years, it's not going to be as big a percentage of our overall portfolio that warrants a big investment.
All right. Still, 5 years is long term. But okay, so let's talk about, now quite a few dealers are suing Ford, which, by the way, sounds kind of reasonable because, franchise, you may not like franchise, laws, but they say that every dealer is entitled to the inventory. But we'll let the judges and juries decide that. But at the same time, why sue? Like, what are you suing for? If you want to sell electric cars, I think this deal is very reasonable. This is an investment you're going to need to make no matter what when you are selling and, most importantly, servicing electric cars. Why not just walk away for 5 years? But why the lawsuits?
Well, people don't like to be told what they have to do, and the dealers have been operating for years with very little influence by the OEMs. These dealer franchise laws are very strict, and basically, the dealers are their own private businesses, and there's very little that the OEM can do to the dealer as far as telling them what they need to do. And now here's Ford coming in and saying, you have to have set pricing. You have to install this charging infrastructure. You have to buy all this expensive equipment to service these vehicles. Well, that last part's not that unusual, because when new vehicles come out that have special service needs, the dealers have to purchase that equipment. But the point of the matter is, Ford's coming out and saying, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, or we're going to withhold inventory. And I think on principle, the dealers are saying, hey, wait a minute, I think you're pushing the limits of what you're allowed to legally do. So we're going to challenge it. And I think that's all it is. I'm sure Ford has done a tremendous amount of research on this. And I would bet that they're confident that their decisions and the rules that they set forth for Model E are going to stand up in court.
All right, now let's talk about the charging network, which is looks like become the largest one. Do you think the network is really going to do that much good? I mean, obviously better than nothing, but having one or two stalls is very limiting. Like I'm traveling right now and relying on Electrify America greatly, and for me, when I see a location having only 2 chargers available, I was like, oh, there's got to be a line. Is this really going to be an effective network?
Well, here's the thing. Ford doesn't think that they're in competition with Electrify America or EVgo. They're not trying to build out a network that their customers will solely rely on. And if you look at it through those shades, you see how it will be worthwhile. They're just adding to what's existing, Alex. And the fact of the matter is, I forget the exact statistics, but I think they told us something like 95% of Americans live within 20 miles of a Ford dealership, okay? 15 miles or something like that. So I think what Ford was trying to do with this, by making the dealers install these DC fast chargers, is ensure their customers that no matter where they live, there'll be a DC fast charger within 10 or 15 miles of their house. They're not using this network as saying, oh, don't worry, all you have to do is use the Ford network. It's going to be in emergencies. It's going to be if you need to. And it would be a resource for people if, let's say, they have an apartment and they live 5 miles from the DC fast charge network. They can't charge at home. Ford's going to say, well, you can stop by once a week, like you go to a gas station once a week and plug in and come inside and have a cup of coffee and and hang out here for a little bit and let your vehicle charge up so you have enough energy for the week. This isn't competition for Electrify America, Alex. It's just there to add more plugs across the whole country in areas where the infrastructure companies like EVgo, ChargePoint, Electrify America are underserving because there's not a lot of people in those areas.
Here's an interesting comment that you're absolutely going to love, Tom. So enjoy while you can. From Melody of 1974, which actually is a very frequent contributor and viewer of the live stream. He says, or she says, probably her, gotta love Tom for his knowledge and gotta love Alex for his hair. I will take it. And obviously this is a good product placement from Bosley. But, I spent 2 days researching this, putting it together, outlining everything for like 10 minutes before I brought you in, and you get all the credits, Tom. But at the same time, I do agree with the comment.
Well, the E4Electric community should know that Alex tees up questions for me so I look good. So it's not all me. Not that we go over this. We don't. I know what the topic's going to be, but we don't go over what questions he's going to ask me ahead of time. But, the whole point of this back and forth is Alex asks me questions that he knows I'll answer well, and he makes me look good.
Yeah, and honestly, I do this with all of my guests. The thing is there's no point of me giving the information that I already have a guest to give the same information, right? It's not that I go like, oh my God, Tom, what do we do here? You know what I mean? But it's my job as a host. I feel it makes me a better host when I let my guests give the information, because that's what they're here for. But listen, I will take the compliment for my hair, so I'm perfectly fine. And Tom, I already told you many times, I think you should be by far the biggest, EV journalist, and definitely biggest YouTuber. You've been around longer than most of us. You've been driving electric cars for longer than most of us, and I already told you I think you're the most fair and unbiased journalist in the entire industry. So I will take this comment any day, and because I do work on my hair, and I'm so glad that I still have some left. All right, Tom. Listen, as always, it was great to have you on the channel with a lot of wisdom to add to my great haircut. So I will talk to you. I have one guest next week. I probably didn't even tell you. I'm just telling you now. I have this. Yeah, I'll tell you. I know.
You're
But
kicking
this.
me off?
No, okay. So actually, on my way to Austin, I stopped by in Dallas to talk to this kid. He runs this tech channel Instagram account called Tech Balloon, and I wanted to go over, like, I wanted to do this for a long time, like the best and coolest 5 tech news of the year, and he does that on his Instagram. So I wanted to invite him. Give you a break, from me and my hair. Maybe get a haircut of your own. Who knows? I'll bring you back, of course, in a couple of weeks. But you're welcome here at any time, Tom.
Okay, guys. So I want everybody to understand, Alex is kicking me off the show next week.
Oh,
I won't
God.
be here. So,
All right. Okay. Well,
next week, no likes on his video.
you
He's
know,
gonna
you can
hate me
still
for
come
that.
in and comment on the foldable iPhones and stuff like that. I'm not really sure if you can stand it though. But all right,
I'm
listen,
coming
Tom.
out. Guys, take care. This was fun.
All right. Okay, guys, if you have not subscribed to Tom's channel, that should be against the law, because if you're interested in electric cars, especially things like driving tests to see how many actual miles the car gets, and what kind of charger to get, and just information about charging, Tom is literally have no competition in that niche. You got to subscribe. The link to his channel is already in the description of this video. My producer AJ already posted once. He's probably going to do it again. But thank you so much for everybody who's been watching and even talking smack to me. I always enjoy that. It's not an E for Electric live stream without one. So I will be in Austin still next week. I'm going to be here for a couple of weeks. So if you're around, let's grab coffee. But other than that, see you guys next time. And of course, remember to stay charged.